Hello and welcome to the Voice of Intuition podcast. My name is Susan Jane and I believe that trusting your intuition is the best way to live your life with meaning and purpose. Each week you will hear about how you can connect, develop and trust your intuition through the wonderful array of guests we have on the show and my own personal experiences. Join me to understand how your intuition can guide you towards a life full of meaning and loving purpose. Hello and welcome to the Voice of Intuition podcast. I'm Susan Jane, your host for the podcast, and today we are talking all about body language. Now, it's really important to be mindful of what your body's doing and how you are projecting intuitive messages to others around you. And we can see a lot in what our body's doing, not so much what it looks like, but how you're actually holding it, how you're walking, how you're sitting, how you're putting yourself out there, because that's what we see first when we start to meet people. But I've got a very special guest on today. Yana German is going to be, wait until you hear all about Yana. She is amazing, and you've got to check out her website. It just looks fantastic. But first of all, I'm just going to welcome you in. Yana, welcome to the Voice of Intuition podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited, very excited.
Yeah, it's cool. Now, look, what I want to know first is I read a bit about your background. It's an amazing background you've got. Can you tell us a little bit about that first?
So I'm a dancer. I was a professional ballroom dancer, and I was fascinated with kinesiology and understanding just how can someone enter the room and have this energy about them that you just cannot stop admiring or so. And then I went into the fashion designing, and I was designing strictly for women who I believed that through the power of the clothing, a woman can shift. But it wasn't really a truly calling for me. It was fun in a game. And until I realized that there's more to our body and that the body really speaks to us and has so much messages. And that's not just understanding and connecting the dots, and got me into more of the body awareness and intuitive side.
Yes, it's really amazing, isn't it? Because you don't realize you're doing it. I know that I've walked down the street sometimes and I felt a little bit down, and you know that you're not walking the same way you normally do. And it's funny, you can actually feel parts of your body that are feeling like that's sort of achy or something, because you're walking different. You just got a different sort of an attitude behind it. And it is all from how we're feeling deep inside.
Yeah, it's so much. I mean, the body actually has a memory to what we feel, how we are, what we believe about ourselves. And not just like what we believe about ourselves, but what we hold is a true conscious awareness of where we are, who we are, and our life code. So through the years of being fascinated by movement, fascinated, why does someone who looks so strong and so refined, but yet when they walk and they move, you can sense doubt, insecurity, fear, and all kinds of, emotions that is not actually described by the words. And that's entrapment in the human body. And that's truly the miracle of when we learn how to become extremely, extremely conscious and aware is what is the messages that we feel and how it exudes in the physical body in everything that we do.
Okay, that's really interesting. Can you give us an example on that so we have an understanding of that a bit deeper?
Okay, so pretty much, we have a physical body. We're in the physical universe. We have all kinds of senses. So when by the age of 7 years old, we fully developed and we see the world as we believe it is, with everything that we like, everything that we don't like. So we call it duality or polarity. We see the light, the darkness, the good, the bad. However you have light, beautiful, ugly. You have dualities. And so by the age of 7, every feeling and every sensation is in your energy. So I don't want to use the chakra or the aura. It is in your physical energy. So as you grew up and you take on life and years and experiences, every external experience, physical or non-physical, will become part of your physiological makeup. So that's why a lot of times people feel things and they cannot explain, but the body remembers it. And there's a body memory. And that's where I studied since 1996, really understanding why does someone feel sad, overwhelmed, depressed, anxious, or has other illnesses per se. And yet outside they can be perfect, but inside they're not. So the body has ability to be entrapped with every feeling and every sensation, especially when we walk. That is the time, that's what I call it, or I do a blueprint or a diagnostic to reveal at that moment when someone just walks back and forth, even saying just their first and last name. It's the connection to the source, connection to who you are. At that moment, you can really, really understand what is the person holding on to, how much of past is truly carrying them on forward, how much are they present, how grounded they are, how aligned they are with who they are and their life code.
Right. Now, look, I just need to clarify something here, because what you've just said is absolutely brilliant and I love it. But what people don't understand is that you used to train catwalk models to walk.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
because you haven't told us that, I would be listening and going, well, how does she know that? How do you know that? Because you've been doing it over and over and over again. You have been watching
Yeah.
the models walk up backwards and forwards, and you have tried and you have succeeded
Thank you.
to work out what it is that they're holding on to, what it is that is stopping them from looking like how you want them to look on the catwalk. Can you just run through that a
Yeah,
little bit?
Susan.
Because
Yeah,
I
I
find
mean,
it so fascinating.
it's funny because I think maybe it's a side of me, that a past that I forgot. I don't, it's been so long ago. So yeah, I worked with models. I lived in Italy, and I was, like I said, as a dancer, I wanted to really understand why can someone be presenting, the outfit themselves, and why someone has that catwalk where, it's just like stride, just fluidity to them. And yet someone who's beautiful and perfect and precise really doesn't capture it on the stage or platform. And so through the years of training and really understanding, I would say analyzing the walk, and I have to say it's all intuition. So people say,
Mm.
well, can I do this? Can I figure this out? Give me the formula. I can't. It's just something intuitively where when someone walks, I would be able to figure out or sense it out what the person really is and what is their true walk is. Because all of us have a very, very, very unique walk, the stride. It is very different, and the stride resembles exactly who you are. So if you dissect or you put it into the x-ray, you can actually figure it out how much of your stride and the actual just walking towards grocery, walking towards, with your kids. It doesn't need to be a special catwalk per se. So just because people see the models walking, yes, maybe there's certain pivot turns, techniques here and there, side steps that they use, but they are presenting themselves, who they are, and they're like a hanger, for the designers. They just, because I was a designer too at one moment, and I just said, just be plain hangers. I don't want to see your personality. I don't want to see nothing. Just carry the clothes down the runway. But even if the hanger still has soul, the way they carry the sun, what they feel. So if they model had a bad day, no matter how neutral and unbiased she will be, her emotion will carry her differently on the catwalk, because she will feel either sad, scared, mad, whatever happens. So that's really carried on when I started. A lot of people say, well, the Yana difference, the walk, because I would always be able in 5 minutes or less look at someone, have them walk, and figure out really what their walk is and why is it the best way for them, right? So, and then I just realized, wow, there's more to it than just a walk. What we feel, what we believe, what are old beliefs, old patterns, right? That carrying on from child. I'm not talking about the past life. I'm talking about this life, from the childhood, any trauma if we had, right? How much is really stored in the physical body, and how much of it we carry along the way when we walk.
Wow, I love that. And I wanted people to hear that, because to me, that gives you the credibility to say, I know how to do this. I can do this really well. And you
Right.
can. And it's just amazing. Like I said, I had a look at the website, and it's like,
Thank you.
wow, to be watching somebody, these models, and you don't have to be, it's not about, your body weight or anything like that. It's just about how you're projecting yourself out
What
there.
you feel, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. So I wanted to make sure the listeners got that understanding. You're certainly not someone that's just waltzed in and said, oh, yeah, I can do this. You have got years and years and years of experience. And that's what makes it so unique and so lovely. I love it. All
Thank
right.
you.
So we've got an understanding that's what you're doing. When we're talking about body language, do you just focus on, I know we're going to talk a bit later on your courses, or the, how you, oh, sorry, I got all
Right.
tongue-tied.
How I work, what I do,
How you work, yeah, that's
what I
it.
do.
We're going to talk about that in a minute. But what I love learning about and understanding is those little tricks and things like that we can get an understanding for. So when you're helping somebody in body movement, I'm going to call it, rather than just your walk, but when you're helping somebody with body movement, do you just say, or not just, do you say to them, okay, you're doing this, but you need to do this? And do you try to get through to their emotions in a way that they're just moving their body differently? Or do you do, how do you work? Come
This
on.
is a this is a good question. So I have been doing this for so long. I've been teaching for over 25 maybe years or so, as when I started really getting into the fashion and the design, and teaching the models and performers and actors just how to present themselves. So years ago, I would have to really, really focus precisely on the walk. So I would see them walk back and forth. I would ask them to stop. I would ask them to walk again, without any communication to them. I wouldn't even need to hear anything about them. Just walk. And I would only focus on the posture. Not only the posture, but what's happening to their hands, what happening to their ankles, what happening to their feet. And sometimes I would ask them to be barefooted prior to them going on the heels. Let's say if they needed to be, well, models need to walk on a stiletto heels. It was part of the requirement. And now fashion's changing. Now you see barefooted. Now you see, ice skating on the stage. It's all over the place, right? But years ago, it was very, very strict. So models were required to go on the stilettos, and they were able to be on the platform. So again, years ago, I would focus extremely on external, which is the physical element when someone walks. Through the years and modalities that I've gained a quantum energy and all types of healing mobility, and understanding all types of emotional trapment of energy, how the energy is moving, why we feel what we feel, I realize that it is not about the physicality of it at all. So, yes, you could say I am a body language expert, but in a way I'm not. So I don't look in the itsy bitsy, what does the smile says about this? What does my finger, right toe shows about that? Because to me, it doesn't matter. Because all it matters is what I feel, me personally, when someone stands in front of me and they walk or they stand or just talk to me, I read the non-verbal cues. When I ask them a question, seeing how their eye twitch or some small things that they don't even intuition or they cannot even grasp themselves, I will feel it. And based on them, I will have an idea who is in front of me. But just because I have an idea, I have to be very accurate that this is exactly what happening to the person if I don't know nothing about them. And a lot of times I don't know. All I know their name and that's it, what they're trying to get. I don't know nothing about their history. And the less I know about them, the more fun I have, because then it's all raw. It's all just coming down. And then I will ask them to provide me their physical aspect of it. So I'll ask them to walk. And at that time, what I sense nonverbal and what I see physical, it has to get synchronized. So then I say, okay, so this person actually has trauma. This person actually had been, in anxiety or had a loss in the family, very tragic. And this is how their body's dealing. So I will go into the diagnostic within, I would say, 2.5 minutes of someone's walking or less. Right now, it's probably less.
Wow, that's incredible. And I can really back up that understanding because when I was doing uni, I did uni late in life. When I did that, I did we had to get obviously peer reviews. They have to be all legal, peer review stuff. Now there was this particular study that they did, and they went into prisons around America. It was an American one. Went into prisons around America, and they interviewed rapists. Now, what they did with them, and I don't know if you've heard this or not, but what they did with them is they showed them videos of women walking out of shopping centres. Now, they were women of all shapes and sizes. They were different colors, different, backgrounds, different clothing, all different sorts of things, carrying stuff, not carrying stuff, with children, without children. And they were just showing all, and there was no sound or anything else. It was just, they were just showing these people, women coming out. And they asked them to choose which ones they would look as a victim. And the story that they came, so you know where I'm going with this. And what they came up with, it was not what they were wearing, what they looked like. Didn't matter how old they were.
It doesn't matter exactly.
It was how they were presenting themselves. It was whether they felt that person would fight back or whether they felt that they could control them. And majority of times they would have had their head down, slumped over, walking out, looking depressed, looking down, looking, that sort of a way. And I remember telling my girls when they were growing up, if you're ever in a place where you feel fearful, the first thing you need to do is stand up nice and strong and nice and straight, and you get your chest out and you walk with determination and look like you're going somewhere, because that's what put them off.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. But I do have to say it can be very tricky, because what I've noticed through years of working with people is that when we walk, we can actually pretend to walk a certain way. So you can give a command to your physical body and walk confident when you're not, walk empowered when you're not, walk, solid when you're not. And that's also taking me years and years. It wasn't just over a day, right? Or overnight. It took me years and years of practice to really assess it. And that's why I feel I am an expert in this, where I can look at someone and I'll know if they're cheating the walk. Yes. So I will know if that person, like, let's say, Susan, you're walking for me right now, right? Just say, right, hypothetically, you're going to walk for me and you're going to walk and you're going to be all this and that. And you already figuring out, you're controlling with your like analytical mind saying, okay, I'm going to go like this. You're giving yourself a command. So the mind gives a command and the body's like, okay, I'll just do this. So I will know and I'll detect what's underneath that. And I'll know that this is the false walk. And I will go and I will shed that walk and basically said, that is not your real walk. Show me the walk you are, that you really, really walk when you're every day just out there walking, walking in the park. I will find your walk. And that's the walk that I really want to see, because how authentic it is and how much it really belongs to you. And then I'm going to understand, what does the walk reveal to me? What does it really tells me about this person? What are they dealing with? What are they facing with? What are they fighting with? What are they struggling with? Whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, it's all in the walk.
Yes, and because you've seen it, as in with the catwalk and your models, you have seen where they can jump into a, like I say, false walk. Where they
Right.
have to
Oh, a
put
lot.
that. Yeah, yeah. But yes, that's what I as I said to my girls, it doesn't matter that it is false. It's just get
Yeah.
through it, and
Yeah.
then you're back to yourself again.
Right.
So, yeah,
Different agenda.
exactly. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
for me, I use walk as one of the tools to help someone. So I call it diagnostic, or the blueprint. And
Yeah.
basically in that walk, it gives me an outline of who they are, and is this person aligned with their life path? Are they connected to who they are? Do they know what they're doing in life? Are they connected to who they feel they are? So the walk element, it's simply an diagnostic tools for me that God granted me, so to speak, and I practiced to perfect. I don't know if such thing is a perfection. You can always advance and advance and advance. And I'm sure I know now, 20 times more than I did a year ago. So it's never ending. But the walk, it's just a tool that gives me an understanding, an X-ray of where the person is as of now, and what they need in order for them to become the full potential. That's where it is.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. That's your tool. And that's, we have lots of tools in our toolbox, but that's one of your main tools. And I love that, because I think it's very tangible for people to see. And they can start to look at people when they're walking or just physically moving, and they can
Absolutely.
start to get an understanding of it. So I really like that. But I want to now go another step,
Mhm.
because you were talking about quantum energy. Is that how you refer to
Absolutely.
it?
Quantum energy.
Right. Okay. I want to know. All right. I'm asking. I'm a bit nerdy when it comes to all this stuff. I love it.
Me too.
I want to know what your tool as body language, or walking. I want to know how that relates to quantum energy. Quantum energy, you call it.
Quantum
Yes.
energy, yeah.
Yes.
So we know that quantum is infinite intelligent, if you want to call it a god. We're not going to go into the religious aspect, but it's everything and anything. It's all around us. So when we are in the physical body as a soul, embodied in the body, that who we are, most people have a very, very, very hard time being present with who they are. So the word neutral, it's a state of happiness and joy, but people always want to be happy. They don't want to be sad. They want to be ecstatic. They don't want to be, kind of sad. So they're always seeking for some kind of physical reincarnation for them to know, hey, I'm feeling good, life is good. Truthfully, it's all in the state of feeling neutral, where it does not matter for you whether things are good or bad, because all is good. So the quantum energy, it's a state of unconditional love, where no matter what happens to you, no matter externally or internally you go through, it's all good. Or people call it's all God. But it's very easy to say or use those phrases, right? When you're dealing with trauma, when you're dealing with emotion, when you're dealing with job loss, or family loss, or anything, any kind of emotional trauma. What do? Again, you go back to the feelings, which you're holding on. So the feelings, it's energy, and it's energy in motion. It has to always move. When you hold on what you feel, the body captures it and it starts duplicating. That's why stagnation, or people have illnesses, or people have disorder, or people don't feel well emotionally and physically. The reason is because too much of stagnation of one type of energy. So energy in us always have to flow. What it means, people are like, what well does it mean? Do I need to get up and dance? Well, if it works for you. For most of my students, including myself, because I'm pretty sensitive and I can feel a lot of things, especially now, there's a lot of things to feel around us. So what I do, I go back to the breath. So I'm not someone who's very, very good at long meditation and sitting, in the lotus pose for hours and hours. I'm too impatient, I'll be honest. So for me, the breath is a reminder that I am present. But tuning in, now I'm not even saying loving the body, because that's a whole different level. To love our body, you have to first feel the body. So when people say love the body, accept the body, well, that sounds great. But how the hell do you do that? If you're sad, if you're depressed. So I believe people put on more emphasis on what it needs to be versus what is. So I always go back to basic. Before love your body, you have to acknowledge the feelings that the beautiful body has. And it does not matter if it feels bad, if it feels good, it's all good. So learning how to feel feelings or emotion, it is the number one gift that we are here really must master truthfully. All those people who are going to be listening to this, obviously they're already tuned in and in tuned because it's intuitive. So I know for so many people out there, it's about feeling and accepting that feelings are yours, because that is the number one step that you had towards self-awareness or self-love.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so that is your first step, and that's all about your quantum, the quantum healing. Oh, sorry, the quantum.
No, it is quantum healing in a way. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, it is, because that's where you're going. That's where you're heading to, isn't it? Yeah,
Absolutely.
where we call it quantum energy.
Let's call it.
Yeah. So, so you're using the walk and the body language as your diagnostic tool, which
As
I
a
love
blueprint.
that
Yes.
idea. You do. Your thing is quantum healing, quantum energy. That's where you go. That's what you look at. What's that next step then? So you've diagnosed somebody. You've looked at their walk. You've looked at how they're presenting themselves. You know all about the quantum healing side of it. What is your next step? How do you help those people move or transcend?
Like this stuff.
Yeah. How do you do that?
Okay, so the number one for me is to make sure that my diagnostic is not based on my ego, that I'm truthfully and very neutral when I look at someone. Because if I come from a place of my own interpretation, and I've done this in the past, as any coach do, because we assume, we think, we know. So my number one focus is to really not even listen to what you say, but I'm going to tune into what I feel that you feel. So because you could say something, and we as human, we say, I want this. And then when you go deep and deep, deep under the I want it, they don't even know what they want. So the number one thing is to really be very clear, is that what you want is truly what you desire is in your heart, not something that you created in your mind, not something that someone told you, or maybe what you've heard or the patterns you've had. So really understand that is the core of a core. And I will repeat it and repeat it. And usually it takes one session, maximum one session, to really understand this. So by the end of the one session, you will know all your who, what, and why. So basically, you will understand yourself, why you feel the way you feel. What's happening to you that gets you to feel the way you feel, and what you can do to become the master. So at the end of the day, I believe, and I've been on the spiritual journey forever. I'm going to be 45 years old, and I've spent since I say I came here thinking this is the starting kind of field for me, and I'm never going to stop. But I've always been searching, and I wanted to understand why, and working with various modalities and masters and teachers and gurus and all kinds of things, because I was very hungry for knowledge. But it's very, very, very hard to really feel what you feel and make sure that what you feel is aligned with what you want or desire for your life purpose, because our soul has a code. Our soul speaks in code to our body. So that's why we have this embodiment. And a lot of times people separate the soul and the physical body, or they try to unite it in various breathing techniques or yoga. And then you do all this thing, you're done, and you go back to separation. So number one thing is the tools. What do you need? What specific tools that individual need? And it's going to be according to where you are, what they can use so they can incorporate and integrate physically. And number one base, it's always to become grounded. And when I say the word grounded, it's when you feel so solid in life that no matter what happening to you, physically, mentally, emotionally, what you can sense, you are so strong and empowered, and you have this inner cord to go forward without any hesitation or fear. So when you're grounded, the state of awareness becomes very, very acute, and the state of doubt and insecurity falls down. So when people come to me and they say, I have a confidence problem, I don't even treat this, because to me, there's no such thing as confidence. Confidence, it's another word, I am not aware. Confidence or insecurity, it's another word, is I am detached. I have a hard time understanding what I want. Who am I? Because I feel all of this, but I don't understand what am I going to do with every feelings and every sensation that I have. So getting greedy bitty and the practical tools so a student can really feel and transmute and shift right in front of you, feeling weak to strong, feeling sad to joy. And you learn how to do this in various modalities. But it's the first thing we go right at.
Wow, that's really cool. And thank you for so much detail too. It's lovely to get an understanding of how different coaches work and different life transformation coaches work, especially. Yeah, because you don't know, people don't know. There's a lot of life coaches out there. I meet
Gazillions.
I meet a lot of them because of the podcast.
Yeah.
And that's why I like to really, I focused on your walk. And I know when we first started, you said that, I do more of the transformation and then more of the life coaching. But why I focused on the walk and that side of it is because that to me is that's your secret.
Yep.
That's your diagnostic tool. That's what makes you stand out from all the other coaches. And that's what I really like, because people are going to be attracted to that. The right people are going to be
The right
attracted.
people, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. You don't want people that are attracted to something else. You want the right people. And that's
and it's so true, Susan. I always say that when the student is ready, well, it's not my saying, but when the student is ready, a teacher or coach or appears, right? So I believe that for me personally, the student who really resonate with me is the ones who've done it all, who are very sensitive. They're light workers. They're really here to make a difference, and they feel it, not just because they tell me, but because they really truly feel it. They have all kinds of gifts, and some of their gifts even greater than mine. Their knowledge could be more wealth than mine, and that's beautiful. That's all great. But what's lacking is to put it in, like, to put it in alignment. They feel all of this, it's like scattered bookshelf, has tons of, it's beautiful bookshelf, has tons of books. So my job is to really teach them, not myself to place the books in the category, but for me to remind them that they are a master of their body, of their thoughts, of their feelings, and they have chosen this moment to be here and learn. They need to learn how, or like it's kind of like a new alphabet, right? It's a coding, how to communicate with our mind, how to communicate with our body, how to give a command. There's commands like that. There's actually a protocol that you go through, a command like that you give command to the body that you want it to be healed. But you can only tap into it when you're grounded, when you're aware. So I've met hundreds, thousands of coaches myself, and I'm still a student, and I have coaches all over the world that coach me who are grandmasters and phenomenal, and they have coaches and so and so. But what I see, and that's really can be intense for me sometimes, that a lot of coaches, they coach others while they're not grounded themselves, or they're struggling to figure out, hey, do I even know what the word grounded? What is my process? How do I help myself? So it is very important for all of us in this human body to be very, 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 very honest. And that's why I love the walk, because even though I can lie to you, but the walk will never lie. You can lie to me. You can say to me things that I want to hear. And I would say, okay, sure. But your walk will never, never, never lie. Body doesn't even know how to lie. Body does not know how to lie. Our mouth can, our mind can, our analytical mind can. But our body will always be honest to ourselves, no matter what it is. So connecting to that, I think that really brings me excitement to see how honest someone is, or how truthfully willing they are to take on the next step or next level.
Yeah, I really like that. And the thing is, like you say, you can put a bit of a tell your body to do something, which is not necessarily what it would normally do, but it will always revert back to its natural form.
It will only, exactly, it will give a peak, but if you sustain it long enough, so like, let's say if you walked for me and you give your command, you would, but after a while, your body would go back to the original truthfulness, because it doesn't know anything else than that. That's the only thing it can really resonate. And then the mind cannot, it can only tweak it. It just only can trigger, or the ego, right? The ego can say, do this, do that. That's why a lot of times people say, oh my God, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. I felt good in the beginning. I felt good. And then I felt like crap now. I don't like this. I don't feel good. Well, why? The ego is very strong. It's very direct. It's very forceful. And often in times, it can feel like that's the right thing for us to do. So our body starts altering that energy. So when we learn how to ground, we learn the power of integrity. We learn the power of discernment. And that's truthfully who we are here, where we learn to say, yes, this is yes. You learn to give the command to the body. So the body says, yep, this is yes. So a lot of people say, I have a problem with decision making. I get overwhelmed. The word overwhelmed is not in my vocabulary. It used to be. I don't even know for years now what this word means, because I understand that everything that I'm feeling, I can give an explanation and I can connect to. So once I feel it, I know where to go into. I know what I need to do to transmute what I'm feeling. Because we cannot ever, Susan, release the feeling. It's false belief. There's no feelings in the physical material universe that you can extract and dump it and release it. All you can do in the material universe, transmute something, because it's a duality and polarity universe.
Well
I know,
said.
right?
Thank you.
I've been
That
saying this forever.
Oh, I know, and I have too. Not in the same way.
I know, right?
Yes, the same sort of thing. Even when people are talking about moving ghosts and that, and they say, "Well, we send them up here," and I'm thinking, "No, you've got
No.
to transmute. You can't do that."
No, exactly. You cannot, you physically, because whatever is in your proximity will be in your proximity. So even if you say, I send this to you, I drop it, I release it, voodoo doodoo, I don't want it, I don't, it's still there. It's still there. It's going to manifest in another form way. That's why you cannot run from what you feel, because the body will tell you something else. And the body speaks whether you're going to feel your heart rate elevated, whether you're going to start feeling anxiety, whether you're going to have a headache. I have a lot of people coming to me. I have digestion problem. I have this back problem. I have the migraines. I have this. I have a hormones problem. I have eyesight problem. So many people come, but at the end of the day, it is one thing, because they are running, trying to escape or avoid what they feel. So you're running away from the body. And that's why I say, bring it back to the body. You feel it. You feel mad. Beautiful. Feel it. You feel sad. Beautiful. Feel it. You feel angry. Beautiful. Feel it. Feel it, but let it not destroy you, but give it strength. Give it power that it deserves. Feelings are meant to feel. And like I said, because I've been so much, and I'm not a yoga teacher, I'm not, Reiki, and I have beautiful friends who do that, and I always see them doing this over and over and over again, and then they always say, Yana, it's something missing. I'm still feeling like this. I'm still feeling. Well, because you've released it, but it will have another way of coming back from somewhere else, the weaker area of our life. So don't run from what you feel. That's my advice to all of you guys. Acknowledge it, face it. Even by saying it out loud, as bizarre as it is, just say it. I feel mad. What you do, you actually give it acknowledgement, and it's just like a little baby. Just like a little baby. If you tell the kid, hey, bye bye, don't play with this, don't play with it, they're okay, and gonna keep playing until you say, okay, what is it you're doing? Come, let me see what you do. Give them attention so they can be right in front of you. Don't just send them away. They will find a way to come back. It will hurt you physically, or it will give you more discomfort than you ever wished for. And then the feeling's going to arise even more. And then you're going to blame, a lot of people blame physical body. My body is not working for me. It doesn't do this. I feel bad. I can't move. I'm immobile. This hurts, this hurts, this hurts. So body is beautiful. Has phenomenal power to communicate. But again, remember, it will communicate to you only the truth of really what it is, not what you want to. Your job is to let it be present and listen. Don't run.
I love that. But we are running out of time. And I
I
did
know.
want to say, because I've got the little ticker tape going, but of course on the podcast, people can't see the ticker tape. So if you want to connect with Yana, go to www.yana, so it's YANA and German, GERMAN, quite easy.com.
Very easy.
So jump on and have a look at the website. You'll really, otherwise it's going to be down in the description as well. But we do have to get going. We are running out of time. But have you got one more last little thing? Because I'm sure you got something you can tell us.
Oh gosh, I will give you a little tool, because I just feel it's nice to know something. So anytime that, especially in this life, when we have to do so much, when we feel so much, there's something you could say that when you say it, you really will feel a shift. And this goes as, anytime you feel sad, opposite than what you want, sad, lonely, discouraged, doesn't matter what you feel. Just say this: I release anything that does not serve my highest good at this time, so be it. And if you want, you can even place your hand on the heart, or you can have your eyes open or your eyes closed. I release anything that does not serve my highest self at this time, so be it. This command gives you understanding that there is a highest self that is in charge of who you are, the physical you, and that is in alignment with who you are. And your job here in this physical body is to love it, accept it, and really, really, really share it with the world so we can have goodness and beauty and love, especially in the world that needs it so, so much right now.
Oh, that was lovely. Thank you. That was so nice. But I've got to go. Just wait there though, because I want to chat with you in a minute. I will just do this. I'll just press all the right buttons if I can. Guys, jump onto the website. You'll love it. It's a gorgeous website actually, but it just gives you that really clear understanding of what you're going to get and how you're going to get it. It's really clear. I've seen a lot of websites that it's all quite wishy-washy, but this I feel really, really clear, and you'll get a lot out of Yana, what she has to offer. So yanagerman.com. Jump onto the website. Please share, like, subscribe. I'm talking quickly now because I know we're running out of time. Please share, like, subscribe to the podcast, and we will go from there. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to hearing from you next week. Okay, bye for now.